Hello, everyone. Welcome back to an episode of Just Say Guay. I'm your host, George Guay. Today, I'm happily joined by John Axelsen, who is a Danish professional golfer, and he is the first professional golfer on Just Say Guay. So, John, congratulations.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so tell me what's going on with you, man. Where are you coming from? Are you in Denmark now, or are you in Florida?
Yeah, at the moment I'm actually in Denmark. I just moved into a new apartment, so yeah, I've been back for like probably seven months now, and just trying to enjoy it. It's a bit cold at the moment, and obviously the coronavirus makes it a little bit difficult, but trying to get the best out of it.
Yeah, so I got to ask, what is it like over there with the coronavirus? I know it's a smaller country, and the United States isn't really handling it well ourselves. But what's it like over there before we get into the golf questions?
Right. It's actually pretty good. I mean, the government is handling it pretty well. I think at the moment the number for how many people it like how fast it spreads is like zero point 0.2, I think. So it's pretty low, but we still got a lot of restrictions, obviously, to like trying to keep it that way. And with the South African version and the British version of the coronavirus, it doesn't look like they're going to open up soon.
Yeah, hopefully we can all get vaccinated and get back to normalcy.
Yeah.
Um, have you been golfing at all? I know it's cold, but in the last 7 months, has golfing been affected by the virus? Are they still opening the courses? Because in the United States, everything's open for golf courses.
Um, Everything outside is still open. Everything inside is not. But it makes it a little bit difficult for a lot of people because it's minus degrees right now Celsius. So we got snow and we got very firm fairways because they're just because the ice really. But the pros actually made a rule for all like pro athletes that they can practice indoors. So that's what we're doing right now. We're just practicing indoor, hitting into a net, and getting the best out of it. Really.
Yeah, whatever you got to do to stay ready. So, speaking of golf, can you take us back and talk about how you first got introduced to the sport?
Sure. Yeah. That's a long time ago. I was 5 years old, and I saw my dad's club out in the a little garage, and I asked if I could hit some balls. So we went out to like our garden and hit a few balls. And after I think I did that for like a month or so, and after that I moved, or he took me out to a golf course, and that's kind of when it started. So I just started practicing a little bit, and when I was about 8 or 9, I think that's when I like took a little bit more serious. Went out there a little bit more, and then I think I was about 12 or so. Like started to do good in some of the smaller events, and then I got hooked.
Yeah, so I think everyone, when they're asking athletes about when they first started, it's kind of an easy answer. Like you said, 5 years old. You kind of talked about how 8 or 9 is when you said that this is what you want to do. Was there a moment at that age that made you say, this is the sport I want to pursue?
Um, I don't really know. Like I love playing all kinds of sport, and at that age as well. So I don't know. Like I feel like when you start to become good at the thing that you're doing, it's like it gives you a drive to pursue it, and I guess that's what I did when I was about 10, 11, 12 years old.
Yeah, so obviously you have to have, a self drive that you mentioned, but also you have to have some inspiration by others. In the United States here, everyone looks up to Tiger and Phil. I know there's other great golfers in the United States, but those have been the two guys in this country my whole life that people have looked up to, especially with Tiger, winning the Masters a couple of years back again. Do you have a favorite golfer that's provided that source of inspiration to you?
Tiger is obviously one of a kind, and I think he did that to me as well, but I was a little bit later. I didn't really watch him growing up with the sport. I guess I guess Rory McIlroy is one of the people that I look up to, and did when I was like 15 years old. Yeah, I think Rory might be the one that I looked up to.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And he's made so much history for European golfers, and you've made some history yourself. You were the youngest to ever play for Denmark in the European Amateur Championship in Finland. What was it like to not only make history for yourself but also represent your country?
It's the team events that we play for the country. They're just always fun. You go out there. It's obviously, as a golfer, you don't really get to play as a team that much. So the team events are really special because you get together as a group, and try to get the best out of it. Obviously, it has its challenges because everyone is kind of individual with their sport, but it's just a fun dynamic. And to win as a team is it's you got to be one of the best feelings.
Yeah, for sure. So you spent some time at the University of Florida. Can you take me through what your recruiting process is like and for colleges, especially coming from Europe? And how did you end up picking Gainesville, Florida?
Well, I had a bunch of offers pretty early on, but I guess one of the things that I found interesting with Florida was, well, first of all, they recruited me very early on, um, which which was like, you get an eye for that school pretty early on, and just the fact that they have all the things on campus, like the golf course, practice facilities, and that stuff is a huge factor. I think I played in a European championship or something at that point, when one of the coaches from Florida went out to watch me. I think I must have been like 15 years old or so, and that's I guess that was the first time they really like looked at me. And since then, I can't remember all the restrictions, but they messaged me when they were allowed, and that's kind of the process. Then I went over to visit them and a bunch of other schools, and I I, I guess Florida was the best choice for me.
Yeah, it's definitely worked out and such a great school. And you can't beat the SEC and that weather down there, especially for golf. So, can you elaborate more on the facilities and how they allowed you to become the best golfer you could become?
Right, sure. It's definitely like a lot of the colleges have crazy facilities. That's one of the things that we talk about here in Denmark when I meet other players that. Sorry about that. Other
Right.
players that have gone to college is that the facilities are just absolutely amazing on the top schools. And Florida, they have the golf course obviously on campus as I mentioned before, but they also have great um, great greens, and we have kind of the back area of the range where we can hit balls, and it's it's great balls. It's like tailor made, the some of the best balls that you can play with. So you really get that feeling um, of actually hitting a real shot out in golf course, and it's from grass, and we have a huge chipping area as well to practice all sorts of short game and great greens. Like the greens are just always good in Florida, especially on the school. I think they're rolling like 10 on the stem usually, and then they sometimes for tournaments they put them up at 12, which is it's like PGA Tour standard. Um, so yeah, the facilities are just great, and they do so much for the athletes as well. Not only the school, but also the golf course, really. Like we get to go out on the course. We can pick whatever hole we want to go out and play, and we can just play that hole if we want to. Go out there with maybe take 20 balls and then just hit one shot if we want to do that. And that's kind of how they do it at the school. Like the athletes are top priority.
Yeah, Florida, the state itself, is such a great place to golf, but being able to have those resources, especially right in your backyard, and not able to have to travel far, you can't really beat that. So those, resources and having all that in place, it led to Golf Week's first team All American, all SEC first team, and even made the All SEC freshman team. What were other factors that led to that success? Besides having all those resources right in front of you.
I think it's up to the to each player himself. Because for me, I kind of struggled the first year, even though that I got SEC freshman, I think. But I kind of I made a choice my last year because I knew it was going to be my last year, and I told coach pretty early on that I was going to go 100% into it, and that obviously meant that partying was not that big a thing for me my last year. Like school had to be good enough so I could play all that I wanted to. So like getting a schedule and a structure around it was a big help for me to actually reach my goals. And I think you obviously have a great team around you, but you have to make the choice that you want this, and that's what I did my last year.
Yeah, for sure, and it all worked out definitely for the best. So I got to ask, being a Florida Gator, pretty much every team on campus is very competitive. You can't beat SEC football. Florida Gators were dynasty about a decade ago with Tim Tebow. The basketball team is always top of the SEC. Um, Baseball is always in the top five. They're in the run for a national championship. Same with golf. Was it more fun being at a school like that where every team is good, or did you think it added more pressure because every team was good?
That's a difficult one to actually answer because I don't know how it is to be at another school, but it definitely added to the competitiveness because all the teams were good and we had to do pretty good ourselves. So I think for me it was good, and for the players on the team it was good, but it adds pressure, and you have to do well, and obviously you can kind of feel that on the people around you, sometimes coach, sometimes the other players. But it was just fun following the other sports as well because they're so good at it. And we had some pretty nice days with when we watch football and basketball and stuff like that. And everyone, all the athletes, kind of support each other, which is another great thing at that school. Everyone knows what they're going through with the sports, school wise, stuff like that. It can be tough sometimes, but it can be pretty awesome as well.
Yeah, that's a great answer. So, well, you spent a lot of time in Florida. You had to play a lot of matches on the road. Did you have a favorite place to play that was outside of Florida?
Sea Island, where we played SEC championship, was it's probably one of my favorite courses. Probably top three, I would say. That place is amazing, and they always do a great job getting ready for the tournament. And when you come there as a college player, they just do everything right.
Yeah, so it seems like you had a great time at Florida. Now you're in the professional aspect of golfing. Can you take me through what tournaments you've been in since you've left Florida?
So I left kind of when the coronavirus hit, which made it difficult the first few months because there wasn't really any tournaments. Um, but I played mostly on, I'd say, it's called like the Scandinavian Tour. It's called Nordic League. Then I played a few challenge tour events, which was in one was in Ireland, one in Italy, and two in Spain. And then I actually got to play in Dubai for a European tour event. That was my last event last year, which was incredible. Just to be around some of the best players in the world and get to experience golf on that level was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And Dubai is such a great place. So this is a unique question, for a golfer. I typically ask a lot of the athletes I interview, what's something that you do in your free time, and a lot of them say golf. And I think golf is the number one hobby where people, take time off from work or try and, wind down and relax. But you're a professional golfer, so I was wondering, what do you do when you're trying to get away from golf itself?
Oof. I I actually play a little bit golf with other athletes and some of my friends as well. Just like it's obviously not that competitive. What else do I do? At the moment, like me and my roommate are just hanging out and doing what we can do in these times with coronavirus. But the thing is, we can't really do that much outside of our apartment. So I guess we're just hanging out.
Okay, so in your time of being a professional golfer, I know you left Florida about a year ago when this all started. Has there anything that surprised you that you didn't really expect to happen?
Can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, so I know your time's been short with being in professional golf so far because of the fact that you left Florida, last year. Is there anything that surprised you so far about being a professional golfer that you really didn't expect?
Um, I have to think a little bit about this one because we like the Danish Federation is pretty good at getting you ready to turn pro and getting you ready to kind of live the pro life, especially the last few years. So I wouldn't say that there's anything that surprised me. I mean, I guess golf wise, it surprised me how I guess aggressive the players are on the golf course. So like not as personality wise, but like how they play the game. I'm very surprised that because in college golf you play a lot of tough courses, a lot of courses where even par is pretty good, and it helps your team a great deal. But when you get out to play challenge tour, the course actually not that difficult. So you have to shoot very low, and that makes a lot of the players kind of aggressive off the tee, aggressive towards the flag, because you just have to shoot 3, 4, 5 under to be in the run for anything. And that's kind of what I heard was um, that was the case on Corn Ferry as well, Corn Ferry Tour. It kind of I also read that it kind of gets tough again when you get up to the major tours, European Tour, Challenge Tour. So I guess that was the biggest change that you really have to make birdies and be kind of aggressive off the tee and towards when you're hitting into the flag.
That's a good answer. So my last question is: do you think your approach to golf has changed? No, that you're no longer a student athlete. Now your focus is being the athlete.
What 100%. You When I turned pro, it was kind of difficult getting used to the fact that you don't have anything else. You don't have school. You don't have student advisor that you have to have a meeting with, or meeting with the team, meeting with the coaches. You're kind of on your own, and so the approach becomes that you have to do this professionally. You have to make this your living, which I think is a good thing because it 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 requires a great deal of effort from yourself. yeah, I guess that's my answer.
That's a good answer. Well, John, I can't wait to see what's next for you when this coronavirus ends and you get back on the course. So thanks for coming on my show.
Thanks, and thanks for having me.
Yep, anytime.